Anchor is the easiest way to make a podcast. Anchor gives you everything you need in one place for free, which you can use right from your phone or computer. Creation tools allows you to record and edit your broadcast so it sounds great. And they even distribute your broadcast for you so that it can be heard everywhere. Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. So make sure you download the Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started. This is FT News. Hey y'all, this is Daren Frett here. Welcome to FET News for this week, for Monday, December 30th, all the way to Friday, January the 3rd. Yes, oh yes. Mr. Kwame is his final today, Monday, December 30th. It's his final day co-hosting. That is right. Today is his last day co-hosting with us on our Future Educators Talk podcast. So make sure you tune in to that episode as we talk about supporting students living in foster care. Then there will be no episode on New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. Plus, Damian Anderson is back. Yes, that is right. Lo and behold, Damian Anderson is back. He will be back on Monday, December 30th, to talk about supporting students living in foster care. Then, there's no episode New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. However, on Friday, January the 3rd, co-host Daren Frett will be talking about help your child deal with social inclusion. So that's what co-host Daren Frett will be talking about. So until then, I will see y'all. I'm your host, Daren Frett, and I will see y'all for next year. While every shelter pet is unique, some love a good game of fetch. Others would rather snuggle together on the couch. However, there is one thing that they all have in common. They are all pure love. Right now, millions of pets in shelters and rescues across the country are waiting to be adopted. And did you know only 44% of dogs and 47% of cats in American homes come from animal shelters and rescue groups? The unique qualities of each and every shelter pet added up to an incredible bond between every shelter pet and parent. So if you're thinking about getting a pet this holiday season, make sure you visit the shelterpetproject.org. This is brought to you by the Ant Council, Maddie's Fund, and the Human Society of the United States. Hello, good morning.
Well, good morning.
Good morning. We're waiting on Damian to join on this Monday morning.
It's good to have him back.
Yes.
Hey, well, how you doing?
Fantastic.
All right.
Fantastic.
That's good to know.
Can't wait. Can't wait to talk about this topic today because I have personal experiences with this topic. So,
All right. So going into foster care, huh? Foster care.
yeah.
I've had a lot of experience with students who have, had to live in, group homes or who are homeless at one time and been through different foster care families. So, yeah, I got some stories about that.
Yep. And today is your last day.
Yeah.
Guest hosting on here.
Yes. So you guys are looking to use video now for your podcast?
That's what we are leaning towards.
All right.
Since we have a lot of requests that people want to see us talk about it, so I think that's what we are looking at.
Well, the good thing is with Zoom, which is what I use, I mean, you can get a free account. Hello.
Good morning. Look at that one energetic teacher on a Monday. So talk. You were saying something about Zoom.
Yeah, I was just saying, with Zoom, what's great about it is it's very intuitive, easy to use, and you don't have to pay any money if you're using the basic account. The only thing with the basic account is there's limitations to the number of minutes you can have for recording if you have 3 or more people at the same time. But if it's just you and one other person, you have a limited time to record and do whatever. Yeah, but otherwise, I mean, if you're gonna have more than three people at the same time, you just have to make sure that you do your recording within 40 minutes, or else it'll cut you off automatically at the 40-minute mark.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing. But that's not bad. 40 minutes is still a good amount of time.
Yeah.
And then the other thing too is usually after I do my recording on Zoom, I do my edits on QuickTime Player, because it's just easier to use. And I do the edits, I upload onto YouTube. It usually takes like a day or two for the upload to happen, depending on how long the interview is. The shorter, the quicker, basically. But the other option would be to upload the interview unedited, onto YouTube, and then while on YouTube, you can actually edit using their features. But at least for me, I found it a lot more difficult to edit on that platform. So I just like it through QuickTime and then upload the final version on YouTube.
All right.
Yeah, so
All right. So now
definitely
that everybody's here.
resource, and it's probably one of the easier ones to use, and it's cost effective too. Like, you don't have to worry about paying a subscription fee or anything like that, as long as you use the basic account.
Oh,
Okay.
okay. Well, I will be definitely using that.
All right. Now that everybody's here on this last episode of the decade, yes, I've said it, the last episode of the decade. So, welcome to Future Educators Talk with Damian and Daren. I am your co-host, Daren Frett. Hello, I say Damian Anderson. Hold on just a second. With me today is a returning for his last and final day on here as a special guest co-host, Mr. Kwame Sofo Mensa. Yes, that is right. Same time the charm. And also, guess who's back? Yes. Many of you, I know you probably miss him already, but we have not been on together since season 2, episode 6. So welcome back to the podcast, Mr. Damian Anderson.
Yes. Well, thank you. I am so glad to be back on. Yes, it has been a minute since I have been back, but I'm just great to be back on the podcast today. So yes.
Awesome.
Yep. I was about to say, Mr. Kwame, meet Damian, meet Mr. Kwame.
Oh yes.
Yes. Well, good to have you.
So today's topic is a personal, it's something that I have dealt with in the past. In case you have not listened to the very first episode, the very first, where I talked about it. So today we will talk about supporting students living in foster care is the topic. And so I am going to so what is y'all thoughts on that?
Foster care. I think, at least from my experience, just as a teacher, I've come across a significant number of students who have gone through the foster care system, because they've either because their parents have, passed away, or they've been going through some sort of abuse, whether it's physical abuse or, some other forms of trauma that has forced them to be taken out of their homes for safety purposes. So there's different reasons for students being in the foster care system. But one thing that I will say is with a lot of students, some do a better job of masking, their challenges outside of school, than others. And then there are some who, manifest those emotions, while in school in ways that can be unsafe. So I know with foster care, one important thing you have to keep in mind is, with those students, they're not experiencing the stability that you would receive if you were in a home with with your parents and a whole family. They don't have that same stability. So if you assign a homework assignment, if you're trying to give them the same kind of work that you would give any other student, it's not a guarantee that it'll get done because of certain circumstances tied to their living situation. Perfect example. I had one student, and he was like a really good student too, who ended up being in 6 or 7 different foster homes within the past 2 years. Wow. And it wasn't a case where, and he had a little brother who had some, he had some psychological issues that's from some of the physical, mental trauma he experienced with his biological parents. But so he was doing all kinds of things to self-harm himself. So whether it was like self-mutilation or whether it was just a case of him lashing out at his foster parents. Usually the reason why they ended up moving so much from foster home to foster home was because the younger brother was displaying some behaviors that were violent towards the parents. And it's to the point where the parents just said, you know what? I don't think we can handle, this child. So we're gonna, go ahead and just put him back into the system. And that's basically what happened in that situation. But it's amazing how many students are in foster care, especially in our public schools. Mm-hmm. There's so many who are there. And yet we come and expect them to uphold those same expectations academically as the other students. And I'm not one to lower expectations, but I am one that believes in being empathetic towards, other people's situations, especially when it's situations that are well beyond their control as kids. I can't expect them to have their mind fully focused on school when there's so many other things that they're dealing with mentally, that's affecting them outside of the classroom. So it's a difficult, it's a difficult subject, for that reason, because I've just seen so many kids who have through that experience, and there's some success stories of those students who are able to push through and still graduate and move on to high school and be successful. But then there's some who fall through the cracks and they end up in an even worse situation than they were before. So, yeah.
Yep. Right on that.
Yeah, I've go ahead, Damian.
Well, I was like the past couple of weeks, searching up for this topic, I was looking up. A research has shows that in the U.S. Today that there's more than about like 400 children. They are in foster care at a given time, and they have a high likelihood of having experienced neglect of physical or like sexual or emotional kind of abuse. So that's like, that's just 400 children in foster care.
That's a lot.
Yeah. That's just, I don't know about that. That's just, I don't know what to say about that. I just can't.
Yeah, that's way too many children.
Yeah, and you never know who that person is. You don't know until 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 that student shares his story. So it's kind of like, all right, who's who until that student finally shares his story. Kind of like me as well. I used to be in the foster care system from 2009 all the way to 2015.
Wow.
In case y'all didn't in case you listened to the very first episode of Situation, where I kind of talked about it a little bit, not as much, but yes, I used to be in the foster care system for about 5 years. Gone on for, I think, 5 years, yes. From 2009 to 2015. I was with one family in Holly Springs, North Carolina, from 2009 all the way till 2011, I would say. And then from 2011 all the way to 2015, I stayed with another family in Lucifer, where I was kind of like my hometown. So again, nobody knows that I was in foster care. Nobody knows until I share my story. And I think to Damian, he was shocked because he didn't know.
Yeah, I was.
He didn't know until I told him, like, hey, I used to be in foster care. It's like, and he was shocked. Let me tell you, he was shocked. So that's just to show that I used to be part of that statistic, that 400 students are in foster care. I used to be part of that statistic. So I can completely understand why there are so many students that are in foster care. I completely understand.
So you said that. I'm sorry, Daren. So you said that you didn't share this story with anybody. So I'm assuming it's because you didn't want people to know. You didn't want to have to deal with embarrassment or maybe jokes from some of your peers at school. So how did you manage to still go to school every day, knowing in the back of your mind that, like, I don't have the same kind of stability that some of my other classmates have as far as home's concerned?
I just look at it as like a normal day to me. I still have a family. I still have someone that can, support me, encourage me, and etc. I just look at it as, again, as a normal day. I don't really think about all the jokes or all the sayings that other people are saying. I don't really think about that, because at the end of the day, I'm still going home. At the end of the day, I still have a family that I can go to. So I don't really worry about that.
I hear that.
You may hear some jokes about, foster care kids get all the free stuff. No, we don't get all the free stuff. That's not true. Okay, we don't get all the free stuff. So that is false. You don't get all the free stuff. So that's one of the jokes that one of my peers. And, it's kind of, I kind of just laugh it off, really, because nothing really out here is free. I mean, if you think about it, nothing really is free. Unless, like, a free trial or something. But nothing's really free. So that's the way that I look at it, really.
Right. And may I ask this to you, Daren? How did this if I could talk today, how did this make you feel, being in foster care? Like, how did it really make you feel being in foster care?
Well, back in a couple years ago, back in 2009, I was sad, number one, because I'm going to miss my biological family, my family, the one that my sisters, my brothers, my parents, all that. So I was really sad. And, when I go to a different foster family, I still think about them almost every day,
Mm-hmm.
just to see, what they're doing, all of that, et cetera, et cetera. So, of course, I'm going to be sad and kind of frustrated a little bit. Like, why? The main question is why? Why do I in this position? So yeah. So yeah. So I'm out of, just to clear the air a little bit here. I'm now out of the foster care system. I'm no longer in the foster care system. Again, I was out in 2015. It was almost a week after my 14th birthday. So just to clear the air, went back to my family's home. So my biological family home.
Okay.
So just to clear the air.
And if you don't mind sharing, and you don't have to, why did you leave the family home in the first place? What was the situation?
I don't remember why, to be honest. Let's just say I was a bad kid back in the day. I really was. Yeah. Well, not not that bad, but I was not like getting in trouble, like, drugs and all. No, not that type of bad. Hold on.
Okay.
I would tell people what's going on that I'm not supposed to, etc., etc. So stuff like that. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I just, and also, I came across another research that I saw a couple weeks ago that a large body of research suggests that foster youth are among the most at-risk students in American society, and nearly 20% of those who age out of the system, they become homeless, and nearly 60% of young men who grew up in foster care have been convinced of a crime. Now, 25% of children in the foster care system will suffer maybe post-traumatic stress disorder. So, there you have it right there. So, what do y'all think of that research of that?
I'm gonna have to disagree with that because again,
yeah. Same.
But again, I mean, look at me now. Really. Some, again, you may hear some success stories that they finally get adopted, but I don't believe that they will that percentage, what you just said, that they will commit a crime. I don't think so.
Yeah.
Because I don't think so, because they have family, they have like a support system. So I don't see the reason why to commit a crime. And as a person that used to go through foster care and grew up in foster care from age 10 or 9 to all the way 14, I don't think that will happen, because I have a lot of support system. I have a lot of people that willing for me to succeed in life. As a matter of fact, a lot of people want me to become an educator. So this is part of why I'm doing this, is because so that I won't have that stress. Like, I hardly think about it anymore, to be honest with you. I hardly think about it until now. But I hardly don't really think about it that much.
Right.
I hear that. But I mean, the thing with statistics is, you're looking at a sample size of individuals. So, so you can't make these overgeneralizations, over the statistics, because there are factors that you have to consider when looking at the data. So just because there's a certain trend that the data is showing doesn't necessarily mean that every single person falls within that trend. That's just the nature of statistics. But with foster care, I think when you look at this issue, it just goes back to why it's important for schools to really focus on social emotional learning. Because foster care, along with homelessness and these other issues that we face in society, are really taking a physical and mental toll on children, on young people.
Mm-hmm.
And I know I've mentioned this in like a previous episode, but how can we fully focus on standardized testing and raising test scores and raising student achievement if we don't take the time to, figure out, hey, what's going on with what's going on with the students?
Exactly.
What is their mental state? What's their health like? These are essential questions that we have to pose to our students. And another thing too is, not that this is a direct correlation, but usually with a lot of foster care students, not all, but at least the ones that I've been across, they don't always have access to those basic necessities. Like, you have some students who are walking in the winter snow without a jacket because they don't have a jacket. You have some that haven't been able to get a pair of shoes for a long time. Like there are certain issues that come with, being in foster care, because especially if you're somebody who's going from different homes, right? Like the example that I shared early in this show, right? Chances are, who's really taking care of you? You're probably not being taken care of the way you should, because you're constantly moving.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you don't even have a chance to settle into your home. And because by the time you do settle, it's time to move again.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that's one thing that people that have come to learn about foster care, at least in my experience. There's some students who have been fortunate to be in homes where they're receiving love, they're receiving compassion and all the care in the world from their foster parents. They're just very dedicated. And then you have some other students who have not had the best experiences with foster care, because they'll tell me, I don't like my foster parents because they say mean things to me, which you would think is weird, because if you're somebody who's adopting a child, the perception is you really like kids or you care about children. You have a big enough heart to where you're gonna allow them to stay in your home, someone that's not even your blood, to stay in your home. So it was surprising to hear that some of my students were telling me that their foster parents were acting just as bad as their biological parents or worse. I just found that very surprising, because I wouldn't expect that from a foster parent. If I'm not mistaken, before you can even adopt somebody, adopt a child or anybody, there's a process you have to go through to see if you're even fit to be a foster parent. So if that's the case, how are these people adopting these young people and treating them the way they are, treating them the way they do, after going through that whole process? So that's a question that I guess I would have.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So what? So what are y'all thoughts on that?
I mean, to me, I just think they're probably just not. They're just probably not fit to do it. They're just not fit to just do it. Just be the parent. Just be with that child. Just don't do it. Just don't do it at all. Just that's my opinion on that.
What I don't understand is that why, if a student says that if the foster parents are just as bad as their regular parents, then something is wrong. Because they shouldn't be that way. The parents should be, doesn't have to act like the regular parents. You know, it should be, supportive, encouraging, positive, just like as if you were to adopt him/her. Like, think of it as your own child.
Exactly.
Think about that instead of using the same, I don't know, technique or whatever, so that student doesn't have to tell, oh, my foster parents are as bad as my regular parents. Instead of, they should say, oh, my foster parents are good, they are better than my parents. So I don't know if they have, I don't know if the foster parents have, a stricter rules than the regular parents. I don't know. But basically think of it as your own child. That's what I'm trying to say. Is think of it as if it's your own child.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Also, I just came across on this, and I want to hear what y'all have to say about this. And y'all, I believe y'all talk about this on the last episode. More than 70% of foster youth age 7, now this is age 7 and above, have experienced trauma and or exhibited mental health systems. So this is about 70% age 7 and above have experienced trauma or exhibited mental health systems. So
I totally agree with that.
yeah.
Because when I was younger, my mental health was just, truth be told, I've wanted to do, I wanted to do suicide when I was younger because I just really couldn't, like, there was nobody, I had no support system, really. I had no support system. I had no one to really look up to that would, push me to who I am today. So, yeah, so my mental health was really, it was really, really bad, as to say, until I got that support system. So, yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Well, foster care, I don't know if this is a topic that gets talked about enough, in the media. We always hear about other, issues. We definitely hear about homelessness. We hear about poverty. We hear about these other things, which are also very important issues that need to be addressed. But I don't know if we hear about foster care often enough and how it does have an impact on students' ability to stay focused, in school. I mean, if you're spending time wondering if this is going to be your final home that you're going to settle in, how can you focus on what's going on in class when in the back of your mind you're wondering if you're going to actually be here for the long haul? Because I kind of look at it as, I'll use this analogy. So when you think about, let's say, a classroom, right, that's experienced turnover with their teachers. And there are many classrooms, there are many schools like this where teachers are coming and going. In years, you might have one class that's gone through 5-6 teachers, sometimes even more. And because they're so used to teachers not sticking around, they act out of character, which might involve doing whatever they can to force the teacher out because they just already believe that this teacher's not going to be here. They're not going to stick around. They don't care about them, right? So why bother? So, you go through that cycle and it's just teacher after teacher after teacher. So when I translate this thinking into a child who's going through multiple foster homes, how can they fully settle themselves into the home when in the back of their mind, they don't have faith in the parents because they've been failed, because the previous parents have failed them so many times? So, in that situation, you're going to act out, you're not going to put your full trust into your new foster parents, whoever they are, even if they have the best intentions and a great fit. You're not going to give them that trust because you've been hurt so many times in the past. And that's why when you think about this idea of trust, school becomes so important. Classrooms start to play an integral role in that because that might be the only sanctuary that student has. The only sense of stability that student has, because at least they know when they come to class, they're going to have the same routine every single day. They're going to see the same teachers. They're going to go through the same schedule. They're going to have the same classes. They already know what's up. They already know what they're going to expect. There are no surprises. So that's why we really have to be mindful of this, just as teachers, because we might be the only form of stability the student has in their life.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anything else y'all have to add to this topic? Because I got nothing else that I want to say. So
yeah, I think we've pretty much hit the nail with this topic. I mean, there's only so much you can say about foster care. I don't know what else you could say about that, other than that it's something that needs to be seriously addressed in schools throughout the nation and beyond, because it's a growing epidemic.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you may hear some success stories a little bit on the news as well. You may hear some. But it's not enough for me. It's not enough. So
yeah, I hear that.
Alrighty then. So that's it for this topic. So the question of the day for this topic is, what can teachers do to help youth in foster care? That is the question of the day. Let us know by using the hashtag Future Educators Talk and Future Educators Talk S2 on our Instagram and on Twitter. We would like to hear your thoughts on this, so please let us know.
all right. We'd like to thank Mr. Kwame Sofo-Mensah for joining us on this episode, the final episode of the decade.
Yes.
So thank you for joining us.
Yes.
Well, thank you for having me all month. It's been a great ride.
Yes. And please, you can come back anytime you like to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And also, fellas, when the time is right, sometime 2020, y'all gotta come to my show. We gotta do this on my show so people can see what y'all do.
Yeah.
Because you guys are doing some incredible work with this podcast. You know, to be at such a young age and to want to aspire to do this work in education. I mean, that's something that people need to hear. They need to hear your story. So we're definitely going to make that happen. So people can hear, you know, what you guys are doing.
All right.
Yeah.
All righty then.
Right.
Before we end this episode, I have some news to share with everyone. So I have a new show coming out next week called Afternoon Talk with Damian Anderson. I'm so excited about this. This is where I will be discussing the topics of this podcast into more depth, and also many more things pertaining to education, anything that is happening in the education world. So this will premiere next week on Tuesday, January the 7th. So, and on this show, I will give y'all my absolute 100%, my absolute 100 opinion in every single video. So, stick around with me every Tuesday and Thursday, starting Tuesday, January the 7th at 2 p.m. Central. So you could follow Afternoon Talk with Damian on Instagram at Afternoon Talk with Damian, and on Twitter at AT with Damian. So I am so excited about this new journey. And also on this show, I will be having some guests on this show as well. So check out my page to see if you want to be a guest on my show. So again, I am so excited about this. So I just had to throw that out there before we end this episode real quick.
All right. Sounds great.
Okay. So excited for your new show premiering next Tuesday. Speaking of next Tuesday, Brunch Talk with Daren Frett will be back next Tuesday. So looking forward to seeing your show next week. I do believe that is it. Oh, weird. I do believe that is it, unless we're doing a special edition of Future Educators Talk, since there is no episode on New Year's Day.
Oh yeah, there's
So I believe that is it. That is going to be it from us. So like I said, you can follow FET on Twitter at Future Ed Talk on Twitter, on Instagram at Future Educators Talk, like our Facebook page at Future Educators Talk with Damian and Daren. When it's blowing outside my window. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel at Future Educators Talk with Damian and Daren. Make sure you tap that bell so that you'll be notified when brand new episodes come out.
yes.
So you don't want to miss it. You seriously don't want to miss it. You can follow me on Twitter at Daren_Frett, and also on Instagram at It's Andrew Frett.
And you could follow me on Instagram at Damian Anderson, because I am the one and only, of course. And on Twitter at _Damian Anderson.
And where can people follow you, Mr. Kwame?
Yes, they can follow me on Facebook, on my personal page with my regular name, or they can go on my business page, Identity Talk Consulting LLC, or you can follow me on Instagram at Kwam_the_identity_shaper, Twitter at Identity Shaper, and yeah, that's pretty much it.
All right. And you do have a show that is coming out coming out later on today, actually.
Yes, it should. So the new episode of Identity Talk for Educators Live should be coming out within the next 4 hours or so. So pretty much right at midnight, it'll come out.
I can't wait.
All right.
Yes.
Wait to see it.
Yes.
All right. So on the next Future Educators Talk, we're going to talk about. I'm going to let Daria take over that one.
We are going to talk about how to address tough topics in the classroom and in the staff meetings. So that will be on the next Future Educators Talk. So listen in for that.
All right.
Yep. All right. So without further ado, I am your co-host, Daren Frett.
And I am Damian Anderson.
And this is Future Educators Talk with Damian and Daren. Hope you have a fantastic Monday.
All right.
Don't just listen to Future Educators Talk on your smartphone. Continue the conversation online. Like us on Facebook. Be a part of the conversation by telling us what you think. Join us on Instagram for behind-the-scenes content. And follow along on Twitter to stay up to date with what's happening on our podcast and beyond. It's you who keeps Future Educators Talk going. So like, comment, share, and connect everywhere with us. You get social. Let's listen.